field from about 512 entrants down to about half of that. So how we're doing this is our 1-0 winners from last week are going to race against each other today, as well as throughout the rest of this week. And then we're going to match them up by the same record. So both of our runners here really want to get up to 2-0. It's going to be a big difference in how far into the bracket they're likely to make. But we're going to get started here already.
So what are you looking for from your escape weapon?
Well, escape weapon, we always want something that is easy to use a lot of. Speaking of that, did you get the chance to see what JJ is looking for?
JJ's interested in getting boots. I think we all are.
Always good, because then, the run can start. According to Chelsey's bio, she is hoping to find, boots.
Yeah, I think we all want boots in the end.
Well, this should be really exciting. Both of these runners have been doing a lot of randomizer, part of the reason they won their first match. Early on, we're not going to see a whole lot of difference. You might see our runners farming for bombs because they started with Cane of Samaria. Wow.
It's a relatively safe item. It doesn't use too much magic, and you can reuse the blocks. No worries about running out of magic, really.
And then, of course, if you ever have to fight blind, there is the Cane strats on blind.
They're always fun for the viewers anyway.
So far, though, we're not looking at too much. We're going to head through the escape just like we would in the vanilla game, and we have a couple of item opportunities here.
We'll have some keys to collect and a map, and hopefully we'll get some bombs to get the chests in the back of escape in the sewers as well.
Speaking of that, one thing our runners may end up doing here is they may pick up pots on the way to get some of these kills a little faster. Using their magic with the Cane of Samaria puts them in a rough spot later on in the escape, so they want to use it as little as possible during the first half.
Yeah, you'll see them picking up their block and reusing it. Maybe sacrificing a bit of time to save some magic.
Definitely a good choice, though, because, we definitely have to kill this blue guard, and everything we can do to have at least, I'd say, half of magic bar as we go into the sewers is going to be good for our runners. Well, nothing too bad happening yet, but we are not finding any bombs.
Just a bit of the escape to go yet.
It would seem JJBlu really wanted that magic pot.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he earned any magic doing that, but every little counts. Heart container is always nice and early. I think we'll be seeing pot strats in the ball and chain guard down here.
Yeah, definitely a smart strategy. It's a little slower, of course, but the realistic thing about it is just not using your magic here. We don't have a lot of magic drops to really count on going through escape. I think we have 2 small magic pots that we can pick up that aren't just enemy drops.
It's quite the bomb drop for Chelsey.
She's got to be really excited to get that 8 stack. That's going to have her all set for bombs for quite a while.
And JJ will be looking to kill a few guards on the way out, hopefully get himself some bombs as well.
Well, not a whole lot different on our way back up through the castle. We'll have the same RNG to deal with our guards. Want to make sure they're not too much in our way, but JJBlu has to make some tactical decisions about which guards we're killing here. Under the threat of losing a little bit more time than necessary on the escape here.
Might see him chuck a couple of blocks down at the snakes down below. It's a nice, tightly packed set of enemies.
Got that absolutely right. That'd be a fantastic place to take advantage of Arcane. One of the features of this game mode, the standard randomized swords that our runners and everybody in the tournament should keep in mind, is that once you've opened up this mantle here, you can come back. So if you don't have that bomb drop, this might be your only way to get back if Power Glove is routed behind whatever's in the back of escape.
That's definitely something to keep in mind. That isn't true in all of the modes, so if you're more used to a different mode, that may be a different case.
And that's happened several times in this tournament. A lot of people who are used to open mode have made that mistake, myself included. So it's definitely something we want to avoid here. Hey, there it is. We got a bomb.
Snake murdering pet off.
Yeah, you absolutely had the right idea about going here for that bomb drop. That was smart.
Some arrows in that chest. Might be useful later, not useful now.
Well, Keyrat was being a bro for Chelsea. Let's see if JJBlu gets good Keyrat or if you have to go all the way to the northwest corner.
Seems that he's playing on both sides.
Some nice tactical use of the Cane of Samaria there to make sure that rat didn't ruin his day, but not a whole lot back here. Find a big 20. I think that's probably the most value we had here.
Well, the map being there means there's another chest to be had in Sanctuary.
That is true, so our runners will definitely make a stop there.
I think we could see both of the players heading off to Kakariko after this. JJ desperate needs to buy some bombs, however. Definitely going to Kakariko with that flute.
That's a heck of a find early on in the seed. Now that we have the flute, we have all kinds of things available to us, and most importantly, we can move pretty quickly.
Gotta go fast. Wonder if we'll see a lumberjack check. I've seen a lot of the higher level players just not checking it early.
And for the time that you spend on it, it's kind of strange for me that we would, skip it, because that could be such an important piece of information.
Just hearts from the tree pool, unfortunately. Nothing super useful.
Same thing with the crabs, so we're not looking for too many lucky drops. Although later on, once we've killed a couple more enemies, it might be worth it to check and see if we get like an 8 stack.
That's the dream. Big 20 on lumberjack. Adding them out of the picture for the time being.
Emphasis on for the time being. Who knows? We may not have dark access very easily in this seed. We're going to find that out pretty quickly after Kakariko, though.
Bomb capacity and fighter shield. It's not the most useful of items, but you take what you're given.
Yeah, without having picked up any bomb upgrades yet, I mean, you find that coveted 8 stack, probably worth it to have an extra 10 capacity, but at this point, definitely not what we're looking for. Shield is useful, just not gonna point us anywhere near where we want to be.
We're off to the gold mine that is Kakariko. JJ still hasn't got any bombs.
Well, we have 6 items available to us here in the Thieves' Hut. This is very commonly a stacked room for our runners to be checking, so it doesn't make me surprised to see Chelsea checking this first.
There's our bits.
All right, folks, the run can start. Very nice.
And 300 rupees is helpful as well. Didn't have any in Escape, so... Well, didn't have very many in Escape, so... We'll start our Zora fund. JJ heading off, straight off to buy bombs.
Yep, gonna get a lot of value out of that. It'd be interesting to see if the bottle vendor... well, actually, we're gonna get those 300, so I guess no worries there.
Both players activating the flute.
Yeah, we get a little bit of bird sync here. Now, if we were watching NMG right now, JJBlu, based on position, would probably be going to activate their mushroom into powder, but no, we're just going to go check some more locations.
You compare the two players in that front. Chelsea does play some NMG. JJ is actually a randomizer player. He plays the Pokemon randomizer. He's gotten onto this from there.
That would also be very fun. Wow, we have power gloves in the well. 2 lift upgrades in the well.
Well, that's a lot of lift.
Do you even lift well? Well, all jokes aside, this really opens up the seed for our runners. At this point, we're going to need to see that Moon Pearl so we can get Dark World access. But beyond that, I mean, we already have a lot of Dark World available to us.
You even see a sequence break up the Death Mountain to get a load of loot up there.
And we can forget about the cane now that we have that fighter sword.
So not as fun whenever we get a sword.
Yeah, absolutely, and early on in the seed too. I mean, with this kind of loadout right now, our runners have a fair amount of combat capability.
And also, my bad on sequence breaking up Death Mountain. That's completely in logic because of the...
However, the old man could be a sequence break, though, so you're absolutely right about that.
Kind of surprised Chelsea opted to skip that 50 rupees, given that she's not quite at Zora funds yet.
That's true, and we do have an opportunity to do fake flippers coming up ahead, so it looks like we're going to save and quits. Not exactly sure where we're heading to first. In the meantime, JJBlu is going to finish up Kakariko and probably going to pick up that 50, I have to imagine.
And we're fluting off somewhere, not going to the dam after all. Oh, well, maybe we are.
And that's 2 people who noped out of that situation, so let's hope these runners don't need that 50.
There's our Moon Pearl. We can go anywhere at all.
That did not take long, folks. Not long at all. Alright, so Titan's Myth's definitely going to get us into Town of Outcasts, or Village of Outcasts. It's also going to get us in Death Mountain. We don't have the lamp, so there's a limited amount we can do with that. But the flute's also going to give us access to Mire area as well, so for all we know, Mir might be there.
And JJ's opted to pick up the blue mail. So only 5 hearts at the minute. It's a reasonable choice.
Absolutely. Very good value.
Looks like JJ's off to check the King's Tomb.
Yeah, that is available to us incredibly early. Also, I'd like to thank Kobe1342 in chat with the Twitch Prime subscription to Speed Gaming. Thanks. Well, Mini Moldorm Cave not giving us too much yet. But we do get a potential access to Aghanim if we needed that Dark World access, but now we should be good without it, though.
Mastery Sword's still a mandatory item and half of the unlock for the tablets.
Yeah, it would be a very friendly seed logic to give us book at this point.
There's the bow at Bonk Rocks. That's very useful.
I think our runners will settle for bow over books any day.
We're very surprised if we don't have a map check very, very soon, given that we have Eastern Clear available.
Not only that, but with the boots, I mean, it's very fast. You know, that dungeon isn't exactly slow to begin with, but all the backtracking, I mean, we might even not have to deal with the big key chests. So I saw crystals 2 and 3 at Desert and Eastern, respectively. Did you see Tower of Pharaoh?
I think it was a crystal as well. I didn't quite catch it, but I think it was.
Well, that does make this run potentially a lot faster to clear if there's a few more favorable pendant locations, but we might not be needing all of our full equipment this round.
Well, the piece of equipment that typically gets skipped in that situation is Samaria, which we have already, unfortunately. But we might get away with not having flippers if Swamp Pass isn't necessary.
Not having a mirror in the situation or the ability to get into Misery Mire, Chelsea's going to save and quit. Where we end up going next, who knows? But at the Sanctuary, she could actually end up going to those Bonk Rocks right away.
Yeah, looks like that's her plan. She'll be picking up her bow relatively soon.
Yep, and always smart to take care of everything in the north and south sides of the map all at once, so definitely agree with this play. Well, our runners know that everything in the light world is going to be a crystal at this point. I wonder where you start with. I mean, Eastern Palace seems like the obvious play, but yeah, I mean that seems like the dungeon you'd start with. Don't you agree?
Yeah, it's we can. Well, it's the only dungeon we can get to at the minute. But yes, I'd most definitely head over there.
So a couple of things that might expand our reach in the light and dark world. We would definitely want to see a hammer or a hook shot at this point.
The mirror would help a lot getting us up, getting us in the desert and up to Tarvera. Runners checking stuff that their opposite just did.
Yeah, it would appear that Chelsea's probably going to be the first one into the Dark World at this rate. JJBlu was probably checking Ice Rod Cave, being that that's the last one left, but instead is going to 8. Yeah, okay.
And see if we get our Dark World map check soon. Pretty sizable amount of chests in Village Outcast. We can even do the whole fetch quest section at to the south. Involves a bit of saving and quitting, but
Right, exactly, because you can have the followers follow you through a save and quit, so even if you don't have a mirror, it is actually still in logic to go to the blacksmith and the purple chest.
we're getting a water walk from JJ, heading over to the Hobo.
That's a very nice water walk. It's a smart way to do it, too, because if you're going to be going through that whirlpool anyway, you might as well dash instead of having to swim all the way through this. We did get a fire rod out of Chelsea in the Bombable Hut in Village of Outcasts. That's a really nice item to find. I'm wondering if that sends us to Skull Wood soon.
There's our lamp as well.
Wow, so the seed's lit, isn't it? It's on fire.
Yes, it is. I could see us heading over to Skullwood. Still surprised we haven't had a map. Oh, we did get a map check about it.
Well, I do know that, well, there we go. We got the map up. Looks like Ice Palace is one of the two. And I believe we had a Pendant, Misery Mire, and Swamp.
Well, Pendant Mire puts Quake off the table for a while anyway. Unless it's required for Turwalk. You see Chelsea making the play in Skullwoods.
Yep, there's a pretty decent chance we find something of value here. Ether, we don't know yet if that's important, but very well could be. And looks like Chad has us confirmed with Ice Palace and Hera being the red crystals, so that's going to be available to us after just 1 or 2 items. We get a 500 rupee blue bottle. Probably not too happy about that, but it's better than getting a life lesson.
That does unlock the Sikhid item.
Ooh, Chelsea taking a Gibdo hug. That will knock her out. Those hugs are toxic.
That room isn't the friendliest.
I feel like this is a good time for a mummy pun to wrap on that life. So at this point, we might see a little bit of divergence. Chelsea did go to get the key, opting to go to that side because she had taken a death warp. Let's see here. Oh, and it looks like Turtle Rock is also a pendant. That's interesting.
No medallions required, and King of Samaria isn't required either. A bit late for that.
Of course, unless the Seed decides to send our runners on a bit of a goose chase, and we're hoping that's not going to be the case for these runners. Got a really nice bomb jump to get more bombs. Chelsea's probably not too happy about that. In the meantime, JJ finds out that it's either a single arrow or a big 20. Both of them open up the same 2 chests and have the same results, so we're not sure which one was which. Never a better room in the game to have the King of Samaria. The big key room in Skullwoods is a pain to get to. I'm sure we wish we had powder at this point, though. With 1 heart left in Skullwoods, that's kind of a dangerous position.
I'd be very surprised. Yeah, taking a death warp here for the refill.
But we have not found much of value in Skullwoods at this point. I mean, Ether could end up being necessary in some way, but realistically speaking, our runners are pretty much at a dead even pace right now.
Yeah, it looks like JJ's off to Skullwoods as well. Or it's gonna check a few other spots. Probably Bumper Cave.
So now we're going to find out what Bumper Cave is. Haven't seen the cape, so this is interesting.
It's a quarter of heart.
Well, I think this is a moment where we're going to find out whether or not skipping that blue mail was a good choice.
Magic isn't the healthiest either.
Yeah, JJ has a lot of health to work with too. Has picked up several extra hearts over Chelsea here, so this is a dangerous situation for her. But if she can finish off the boss fight, she will still be ahead. Looks like chat's rightly pointing out that the pet is dead because we need all of progression items in order to get to the pendant, so there's no way that we would be able to have anything of importance on the pendant. Obviously, there's always something there, but JJ get trolled a little bit by these bumpers.
See Chelsea's muscular.
She went for a really good strat there, a poke dash strat that we use in the NMG run. You want to dash into the block north of Mothula right when the fight starts. You can get 2 hits in, actually, but making good use of the fire rod to keep Mothula off of the corners. When Mothula collides with spikes, any damage you just did is overridden, so very great fight from Chelsea. Didn't need that blue mail after all.
Yeah, wonderful fight. Flawless. NMG experience is coming in handy there.
And of course, in addition to that, if any of you guys want to practice these kinds of boss fights, I mean, it's pretty clear that everybody I've seen so far in this tournament has practiced, boss fights. But there's a great practice hack that you can download. It's basically a ROM hack made by Poor Little Pinkus. I'm going to put a link in the chat for it, but a great way to get some work in if you want to get a little faster at these boss fights.
Yeah, I've definitely spent a few minutes practicing Trinex after getting soft locked in Turtle Rock a few times. Yeah, Eastern player Chelsea now.
Yeah, I mean, Thieves Town is doable, but we don't have the hammer, so that's a bit of a risk. We know we can complete Eastern Palace, so while it's a bit of a time sink to get here, I think I agree with it.
And we have all the chests. It's a Hashville we haven't claimed yet either.
Well, it's time to figure out what the old man here is hoarding, or as I like to say, the cowboy in the hut, because if you look at his head, that is a cowboy hat. Nobody can tell me otherwise.
I did think that for a while whenever I was a kid as well. Sort of realized that it's supposed to be a bald head afterwards, but it's a cowboy hat. Let's be serious.
If your name's Sarsaparilla, how can you help it? We did not find anything of value in Sahasra this hut. However, Mothula is definitely a crystal, so it's good that both of our runners are doing that. And I think you're absolutely right. It looks like we're going to get an Eastern play out of Chelsea here.
Even with the lamp now, it's completely within logic.
Yeah, we already have seen a little bit of sequence breaking from both of our runners here, so it makes sense to kind of follow the logic of the seed and take it where it logically takes you. No point in trying to jump ahead when that's clearly doable. We do get a nice cleanup out of JJBlu, though.
Yeah. 2 Mothfuls done.
I think the only thing our runners wish they had before going into Eastern here is probably hookshot.
Yeah, it saves a little bit of time over here. It saves an entire room.
And our first chest will be some love.
You can never have enough love.
I think there's like some famous musician at some point, or some group of musicians that once said all you need is love. Well,
I don't know if it'd go that far. We need like swords and pick shots and all sorts of stuff.
That is true. That is true. Ganon cannot be defeated with just love. However, we'll love the experience of gathering everything. And so far, about 25 minutes into the seed, we have 1 dungeon down and about to have a second.
It's like a touch of divergence and see where JJ's going.
Well, you did mention before that there are the fetch quests. This looks pretty likely to me.
Might even take a little trip down the High Cave.
Well, how many digs will be today? I'm going to guess 12.
14.
Yikes.
Or not.
This is a really well-hidden item.
It's just a few bombs, just left them in the ground. Vanilla big key in Eastern.
Yep, so we've gone the full route throughout the entire dungeon, doing a full clear here. But we can kill Armos, and that is a crystal, so no matter what we find in this big key chest, I'm sure Chelsey's going to go finish this out.
And bids are over 500 rupees. Zora on the table if she opts to go up there. Lots of safeties. It's a red tunic from Stumpy.
We're a highly armored Link or Zelda, whatever you want to call the character in this game. I mean, neither of these runners are using the Link sprite, so I think we could probably dispatch with that. But red mail is going to be really nice. With 10 hearts on JJBlu's side, pretty hard to die at this point.
I'm not a big fan of the blonde Turno sprite, but
Well, JJBlu's bringing the Bullfrog for the World Tour, has found a mushroom and powder, so we got both of the witch items.
fetch quest galore. Well, the powder doesn't do a lot yet without the hammer or mirror, but we could deliver the mushroom.
We got a pretty interesting fast kill strat of Chelsea there on the Armos. We did the pattern that you would normally see at Ice Armos or Armos 2 later on in the game. Works just the same though. Interesting thing for those of you out there who are having any kind of trouble with that fight, the Armos don't start circling the room until they reach their resting position in a circle. So you can delay that by using the bow and arrow if you time your shots right. So you'd want to aim for the left one after a moment there. Lots of different ways to do that kill though. Perfectly valid to go that route. Got it without the enrage phase, which is nice.
Yeah, I'm always impressed by the Armos quick kill. It's so simple, but like the reason it works is really nice. That the last Armos doesn't restore its health until it actually turns red. So you can like put 2 arrows into it early and then kill it last.
And that's a really great point, is that you do have to actually put that arrow in, before it turns red. So one thing you can use to one thing you want to avoid in fights like that, the bow actually only allows you to shoot 1 arrow on screen at a time. So if you are, for example, mashing the item button, you may actually have some of your inputs eaten. It won't be effective to just mash it as hard as possible. So one thing to keep in mind when you're fighting that, or you doing really anything with the bow.
Yeah, keep a nice good rhythm and don't just go ham on your button. Seeing a Thieves' Town play off Chelsea, decided not to wait for the hammer.
And it looks like we traded our drugs for a little bit of health. Not a great trade.
JJ head off the Lamar area. I believe Chelsea checked this shed earlier.
Yeah, that's the truth. And then, as we saw before, we didn't really need Quake. However, who knows what progression's locked where. JJBlu did something interesting there. Right before walking into the shed, jumped into the water to get some invincibility frames, then walked into the door and dashed right past those sparks. I actually didn't know you could do that, so you learn something new every day in this game.
I didn't realize why he was doing that. That's kind of cool. Keep that in mind, definitely. I see a Thieves' Town play from JJ as well. At this rate, the game might be forcing us to go into Paths of Darkness without a hammer.
Yeah, it really doesn't seem like we've got a lot of places to look for it. I mean, Chelsea could potentially find it here in Thieves' Town, but beyond that, we don't really have much available to us without the mirror or the hookshot.
Basically just got the purple chest and then the few locations in the Paths of Darkness area, the pyramid and catfish and the pod itself. Actually, we can't get up there. No, ignore me completely, we can't get up there.
We would be able to if we had the flippers, though. So if we find those, that does get us northeast Dark World access.
Strictly speaking, we could kill Aghanim to get over there.
And of course, our runners do not want to have to do that.
Or we could go to Mahar.
Yeah, so that's a thing now. Wow, so with the Quake Medallion, I mean, we don't know where Turtle Rock's going to be at, but we're going to get Nagina's Cave checked now that it makes sense to be over here.
Nothing of super relevance in Thieves' Town so far.
Well, everything's coming up burritos for Chelsea in the back half of, or in the basement of Thieves' Town. Going to grab the Maiden. We still need that hammer to check the last chest, and I do believe that there are 2 items remaining. We have to double check next time she changes her pause screen, but it'd be interesting if we see anybody return to this dungeon.
Well, there's no key, so the key will presumably be in the big chest. Also, JJ found Hookshot in Agina's Cave, which is interesting.
Holy smokes.
That opens up, like, all of Death Mountain.
Yeah, not surprised to see JJ come up here at this point. Well, it would appear that Chelsea has practiced the blind fight, having a perfect one so far. Just a slight miss, barely not getting the perfect fight, but that's definitely an admirable blind fight by anybody.
Yeah, if he's still at the top at the end of the fight, that's good enough.
And it was a compass at blind, so I believe we will have to return here if we end up stuck later.
No, we don't have a small key, so the small key will be in the big chest.
Oh, that's nice then. If Chelsea does remember that, then yeah, absolutely won't have to come back at all. Good call.
As chat's rightfully pointing out, we're sort of one item away from go mode. We just need the hammer and we could fake flip into ice pots. Very fast seed.
Well, not a whole lot going to go on the right side while we're digging forever to get that item, those bombs, or the blueberries, as you might call them. But in Death Mountain right now, JJBlu's checking some of these caves.
Nothing so far in Paradox Cave.
That was a gross cave. There was absolutely nothing.
Nice bomb jump there. Saving a second trip.
Yeah, with the custom sprites that we have available to us in the tournament, it's actually kind of hard to line up your character to do those bomb jumps, so impressive that these runners are able to do so first try.
And Chelsea's going to deliver the blacksmith and check Hype Cave below for things.
Perhaps didn't want the mail upgrade, is going to get it anyway. We're also going to get some Dark Death Mountain checks out of JJBlu. This is going to be interesting because this is a lot of territory that Chelsea hasn't even looked at yet.
Let's see what JJ finds in Super Bunny.
Meanwhile, Hype Cave giving us a bit of a couple of fetch quests, none of which so far have much value. We need the mirror to check Magic Bath, though. Or Hammer.
Those are flippers.
Well, that definitely does inch us closer towards the true go mode. At this point, we really just need that hammer, don't we?
Yeah, that unlocks the item in Zora Ledge, which I'm not sure if anyone checked. I don't think anyone fake flipped there. I think JJ just went to Hobo and then backed out.
Yeah, that's true.
Headshot Cave comes up blank.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get to see what Turtle Rock is, though, because nobody wants to have that in the back of their mind later.
Quick do.
Well then, so medallions are no longer an issue whatsoever.
You see JJ heading off to the Zora area with his newly found flippers. Or Easter. Like Chelsea's still opted to not go over to Agina's cave, which is unfortunate. Going up Death Mountain without the hook shot.
Yeah, it absolutely will eventually go there. I mean, you're only going to have so much left to do at this point, and without that hook shot, it's tough to be up here on Death Mountain, but thankfully there's a lot that you can't access to waste the time anyway.
And saving quit points always useful either way.
Meanwhile, JJBlu is going to try and catch up a little bit in the dungeon count here in Eastern Palace. Eastern Palace will be a pretty quick clear overall, but we know that he's going to have to go all the way through the dungeon. Chelsey getting dead rocked.
See where Chelsea heads off to now. Looks like we're out Caesar, maybe? See if they fit Flipper here.
Looks like Chelsea figured out the fake flipper there. One thing you can do is there's a bush on the left half of the screen. If you were to line yourself up with the wall and walk directly to it, slashing it and then moving diagonally will line you up for it perfectly every time. The easiest way to get that lineup, though, is just move against the wall and then move just straight right. Can be kind of weird to get, but Chelsea gets sniped by a Zora. Wow, across the screen.
That's pretty no-scope there. It's unfortunate.
Well, a little bit of a time loss, probably a little frustrated from that. Though, does that lead to a different check? Nope, we're going to do fake flipper again.
Round 2.
Yeah, I'm sure she wants another opportunity to outrun that Zora beam.
And JJ's making swift progress through Eastern Palace.
Speaking of that death, and just to kind of explain to the audience exactly why that happens, Fake Flippers is a Japanese 1.0 exclusive glitch that we play this basically on a modified version of the 1.0. So it's normally if you get hit when you're in the Fake Flipper state, the game doesn't really know where to put Link. And so this normally soft locks your game. The screen will scroll a bunch of times, really strange things happen. The only way to recover it is to save and quit. You can't after you've messed it up. So because of how damaging that is to a person's run, devs have decided to patch that out. Now you just take a death.
Yes, that is completely randomizer exclusive.
Well, we're getting the water walk out of Chelsea while JJBlu is heading into Armos. See what kind of Armos kill we see out of him.
Nothing in the waterfall of wishing.
A little bit of bad luck with Armos, but we have plenty of arrows to work with. Should be just fine.
Covered quite nicely.
I believe there was a bomb upgrade on the ledge. Was that right?
Yes, yes, it was. Let's see what Zora has.
Yeah, we are flush with cash, so no reason not to check it.
Actually, we've checked Zora already. Come to think about it.
Yeah, I forgot. We made a joke about that. I'm not exactly 1000% sure if Water Walk also one-hit KOs you. I believe Chelsea actually bonked into something to unarm that glitch, so didn't have to worry about that walking through Zora's domain.
Looks like maybe... Oh, sick hit. Chelsea's finally given up and just going to Again's cave now. So far out of the way when we have nothing else down here.
Yeah, definitely great to be checking this now. I mean, you got to think in the runner's mind here, I don't want to go to Palace of Darkness or anywhere weird with, not having hammer or not having these required items. So you always want to exhaust everything you can within the logic sphere before you, dive into something that you don't have the items for.
Well, Chelsea can't get to Palace of Darkness quite yet, because she can't get to the flippers.
Ah, yeah, that's right. We discussed this. Flippers were in Paradox, or is it Super Bunny Cave?
It was Super Bunny Cave. It was in that neck of the woods, definitely.
She's got to be ecstatic to find that here, though. At this point, we may see a bit of a lead change here as JJBlu, effectively a lead change. JJBlu may be able to finish up Thieves Town and end up a little bit ahead.
Nothing in Thieves Town, but it's nice fast clear with the boots. His red mail keep him definitely nice and safe during the hellways.
Yep, and we talked about it before. It should be a small key in the big key chest, so no worries there. We do not have to worry about having the hammer here.
You can definitely see after this Thieves Town clear, him heading over to the Palace of Darkness area. Who knows if he goes in? There's a few overworld items there as well, but
didn't quite have enough luck with getting the God Pixel here in the Hellway. We call it, well, both of those names, we call it the Hellway because, as I'm sure you can tell, it's pretty much hell getting through it. And the God Pixel is a 1 pixel window, or basically a pixel perfect positioning that you can dash through the entire thing with. Even then, though, RNG determines whether or not you make it through. A very hype thing to get in a run. Looks like our runners are 2 for 2 for bomb jumps so far. That's nice to see.
yeah, there's a lot of these runners will practice all their important bomb jumps with their sprite of choice. I know I definitely do.
Oh, and the floating island was the book. I think you might have caught that earlier. I apologize, I missed it.
Yeah, I spotted it earlier, but we can bring it up again. It's probably not going to be super important, and we definitely don't have the mirror yet. The check did go and get it anyway. And Chelsea's going to be picking up her flippers relatively soon.
Yeah, looking at this, it seems like our runners are really evening out pretty quick here.
Yeah, both of them are. JJ's decided to take the Clear Crystal Dungeon route and opted not to take his flippers into Ice Palace or Palace of Darkness. Chelsea's managed to sort of, I feel like she was a bit behind before she checked again, and she's now catching up right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that would have been a really catastrophic mistake had we not found that.
JJ with a relatively smooth blind fight.
Well, without Hammer, Mir, Hera is still out of reach. We'll probably get a quick check of both Hookshot Cave and Turtle Rock itself from Chelsea, but after that, they will have effectively done the same things.
I think the only minor lead that JJ has is he delivered the purple chest when he was at the Gina. It wasn't anything important, so it doesn't matter too much. Seems that JJ is heading off to the Palace of Darkness Catfish Pyramid area.
Well, a lot of runners really don't like the catfish, but I mean, it sure seems like this is a likely place to find something.
Yeah, it's a bit handier to get to whenever you're coming from that direction. Typically, you'd arrive from the south, because generally we'd have a hammer by now.
It almost kind of seems like we're going to see the same play at Chelsea as well. I'm probably going to take the north side of Dark World.
Yeah, it seems like a fair play. There's probably 7 items over here, counting Palace Darkness, and the other real choice is Ice Palace, which is only 3. So density's slightly better over here. Not like we can complete either dungeon if the hammer's not in it. JJ's going to check Pyramid while he's in the area.
And this could also be a pretty valuable spot as well, as a lot of the seed drops that we had early in the game did give us access to the pyramid early. So look to be bombs though, right? So yeah, definitely not something worth stopping to get. I get the feeling though we're going to see the same checks at Chelsea, so JJBlu still maintaining a bit of a lead here. You know, this would be a pretty friendly Palace of Darkness otherwise if it weren't for not having that mirror. Our runners are going to spend a fair amount of time in here.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth with the Latimer. Might see some tricksy death warps being set up on the right side.
And of course, there is always the possibility of a bomb jump.
Hammer jump's always very impressive to watch.
Definitely one worth learning. One thing that runners out there, if you guys are having trouble with the hammer jump, you want to keep in mind what Link's animation does. We talk all the time in the NMG route, or at least, you know, when we're commentating it, about something called pumping, but basically Link's movement animation cycles between 2 and 1 pixel per frame, depending on which direction you're going. It starts 2 pixels if you're going left or up, or 1 pixel if you're going right or down. So if you're trying to do pause buffers, you can use this to line up Link perfectly every single time if you know that going into it.
That's good to know. You'd advise going right or down then, and whenever you're like overshooting top left and then moving to the right and down to line up your pixel.
Precisely, yeah. The pause buffer works very effectively when you know that fact. It took me a very long time to realize that, but if you're trying to adjust, you know, above or below the y-axis pixel, that's absolutely critical information to have. That was a pretty nice mimics room, JJBlu. Didn't have any issues at all. Usually that's an easy place to end up shooting a couple extra arrows. Also seems to be setting up for a death warp.
Beast walking out of here. Something I've seen a lot of runners do in that room is they wait for their arrow to hit the red mimic before shooting the green mimics, which is something I'm guilty of, but you seem to always line it up a bit better while you're waiting. Nothing so far in Palace Darkness. Unsurprisingly, we have lots of keys.
Yep, Palace of Mirrors, Palace of Darkness, Palace of Keys, lots of names for this place, but at this point, JJBlu probably just wants to get out of here pretty soon. Just wants to find that hammer. There is still the possibility of a vanilla hammer, though.
Yeah, we have everything we need to get to the big chest.
Looks like Chelsey's going to gamble on getting to the back half. Does find the key, which is very handy. It's beginning to look a lot like vanilla. Well, so this is one opportunity for Chelsea to potentially gain some time back if she is wise about counting her items and understanding what the key logic is here. That right half might not even need to be checked at all.
Yeah, it's just 2 keys, so we might, like, with given a bomb jump and then not using a key on the right hand side, we might be able to save a few keys.
Well, we bombed open the hole. I think she was going to go, or I think JJBlu is going to go for it, but at the very least, getting that hole open will help him save a little bit of time in the dark maze.
It looks like he's assuming that the hammer isn't here and just setting up to save and quit from the big chest. In which case, bomb jumping isn't super mandatory. So has everyone in chat got their fingers crossed for a vanilla hammer then?
Yeah, we are approaching the moment of truth here.
A nice safety for our collection.
And of course, we can do the intended Swaggin' strats. Well, let's see what it is. Wow.
Well, that happened.
Well, folks, we have a vanilla hammer in Palace of Darkness, and JJBlu probably taking this Death Ward more to protest than anything else, just to get a reset. But yeah, at this point, it's might as well head right down to Helmasaur King. You know you have what you need.
Well, we have the hammer now. That's us in go mode. Race to the finish at this stage.
Well, with that in mind, I can't think that there's a whole lot that Chelsea wants to check the right side for, so this does even up the race a little bit.
It does. She still needs to grab a key from somewhere.
Ooh, and without the mirror, that may be actually a bit of a time sink. So yeah, I might have been wrong about that.
Chelsea taking a death warp here as well.
Well, at this point, I'm almost a little upset not to see a hammer yump on a true hammer yump.
Yeah, it would have been nice. Well, it would have saved a bunch of time because we would have walked out of the dark maze. I think both players just were working under the assumption that we're just going to save and quit after the big chest.
Well, I mean, plus, a part of your mind has to be like, well, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. And then when it happens, you just kind of got to deal with it at that point.
It's quite nice riding the Gallon's Tower as well. We get to do Hera last and then keep a mirror portal outside it.
Well, Helmasaur King here is very much like the NMG fight. We have Master Swords, so we're going to need 17 hammer hits to the mask. We could also use 4 bombs if you're really good at aiming them. After that, we have the Enrage phase to deal with. We're going to probably not see a ton of hammer strat. JJBlu might be able to do it. Very difficult fight to do it that way, though. We'll probably use 8 slashes or the equivalent double sword / spins to knock down the last phase of the boss. And arrow strat's very valid as well.
Would you guys typically use Master Sword swings in Helmasaur and NMG? Or the bow?
Typically speaking, the people who are really fast are actually going to walk right up to that jewel on his face and hammer him. It's very hard to do unless you have your sword outstretched. But you'll either see that or you'll see sword spins or slashes. Very rarely will you see arrows because you need those arrows later in the run.
Yeah, I suppose your ammunition's a lot more limited in NMG.
It's kind of crazy how the whole thing works. If you do everything the fastest way possible, you have exactly enough magic to finish Ganon.
Nice.
But Chelsea's not too far behind, about to walk into the Helmasaur King fight as well. Now that we have the hammer, lots available to us. Let's see where JJBlu's going to head. We do have the powder, so Bat is a pretty good call here.
More blueberries for a collection.
Having a little bit of a Helmasaur King party over here. Chelsea has a lot of health to work with, though, so shouldn't have too much trouble wrapping this up.
Nice and safe. Don't think you have that many hearts in NMG.
Yeah, I mean, we normally have like 7 to work with, so depends on if you skip Sanctuary Heart. Fun fact, by the way, we talked earlier about the practice hack. All of the presets that you basically have for pretty much save states, they're all based on the NMG route. So if you ever wanted to see if you can actually do the route, you know, try playing through the whole thing. You'll have everything.
Yeah, definitely, it's very good for practicing boss fights. It's like typically in Randomizer, you'll have a bunch of extra equipment, but doing Armos with like 18 arrows and doing Trinex with just the amount of magic you need and whatnot definitely makes it better for practice.
And of course, you can also edit your inventory. So, you know, if you want to try a different scenario, figure out what it's like to do Master Sword Ganon, you absolutely can. There's nothing stopping you. And it's great practice. Highly recommend using it. Also, Palace of Darkness is down. We have a couple of hammer locations. This seems like a good time for Hera. I think that's where JJ's head's at right now. Ice Palace is also available, but I have to think that that's something you don't want to do before you find that mirror.
Yeah, having Go Mode Ice Palace is definitely a big time save. Both players opting to go to Hera. Chelsea heading straight to Tower of Hera instead of checking a few overworld locations.
Yeah, we didn't find anything productive behind everything so far that's been hammer locked, so this is a time save for Chelsea. Probably will end up checking a lot of those locations later if we don't find that mirror soon, though.
Yeah, it's definitely the mirror we need for Desert Palace, as the book is actually mirror locked.
Yeah, so definitely no way of getting around that one. Our runners are probably feeling pretty desperate to find that third sword upgrade as well. Nobody really likes Master Sword Ganon.
There's still a few chests to go. 2 swords out there, it shouldn't be too much of a problem.
Always nice to have hookshot in this dungeon.
And saves you that bomb jump if you have boots as well. It's always handy.
Well, looks like Chelsea's going to be the first one to take on Moldorm. We have the Master Sword, so this is going to be a little bit easier. Probably going to opt for the Hammer strats, though. Definitely more damage there. It's the same as a Tempered Sword.
Yeah, the timing helps avoid the enrage of Moldorm as well.
Yep, so it's equivalent to 6 fire sword slashes that we have to do, and if you just like Ileana mentioned just now, if you skip over that last hit by doing enough damage, you just don't have to deal with the enraged phase at all.
It seems we might be making a trip to the break room down in the basement.
Ooh, JJ may have forgotten that the hook shot was equipped because lined up for a bomb jump there, falling down 2 floors. That's a rough time loss.
Yeah, we're gonna check the basement. It'd be kind of silly not to while we're here.
Yeah, certainly no shortage of fire access here, so absolutely gonna check it.
We're gonna see coffee break strats. We are.
This is typically the best time to run to the bathroom, typically the best time to grab, whatever kind of snack you're going to eat during your run, maybe read up on some good jokes. I don't know if it's Sunday, maybe read a comic. We saw JJBlu there get popped into by one of those flames. If you actually hold your sword out and charge it to the left, you can slide around the corner of that railing and get past that fire.
Yes, good to know.
So just going to say now, we are in a very healthy seed right now. I mean, we have 15 hearts for both of our runners.
Yeah, 15 hearts and red meal was available. We have a blue potion in the bag. JJ has his net as well. Hero was a bust.
Yep, pretty clean execution though. We did emerge with the crystal, so not completely a waste of time, but our runner's got to be feeling a little bit of pressure at this point.
And Chelsea's heading straight off the Ice Palace on the clear crystal dungeons when we can plan. A lot of runners seem to be employing that strat in this version of the randomizer.
Chat pointing out that Chelsea has not picked up the Quake medallion from the purple chest yet, so that's going to basically determine whether or not we're actually in the lead with this Ice Palace play right now, or if we're actually a little bit behind. This won't be relevant until we absolutely have to dive in there, or if JJBlu dives in there and finds Mirror, though. Mirror could be a Mire.
Yeah, and Quake also gives us access to Turtle Rock, so Chelsea might be running it. Well, she'll find Quake before she runs out of locations, but it could be a bit of a time save for JJ, the fact he has it already.
Does find a red sword, though. With the Hot Cheeto sword, we are able to start executing on some dank memes. Well, it's definitely a welcome find, but still not a mirror, though, so we're in Schrodinger's, no mode in a moment once we find it, but that's pretty much all we're waiting for. It looks like a nice death warp by JJBlu as well, not having that mirror.
I'm not sure if it was. Well, I suppose you can flit here, save a little bit of time compared to saving pudding. Or maybe we're gonna head off to Turtle Rock.
Well, if that's the case, that's our real route diversion to this run. This will probably be very important for determining who wins this race. Chad also pointing out that it could be Spike Cave that he's heading to, so that's also on the table. We did get a nice bomb jump out of Chelsea.
I feel that that's probably the most important bomb jump to know for randomizer.
Absolutely. Routing is very heavily impacted by it, so if there's one to pick up, folks, that's definitely it.
Spike Cave, you brought it up. It's not exactly the most simple thing to do at the minute. We've got a blue potion, but we have no invulnerability. It's not in the logic, so Mirror might even be there. And we are going to Turtle Rock after all.
Yeah, certainly nice to have all this health, but, exactly that. Very easy to die in there, and you don't want to get rid of that blue potion when you have so much magic dungeon left to clear. Either way, we will find out, though.
quite the gamble. 5 items over here. Hopefully we'll find us a mirror, or JJ is going to be significantly further behind.
We're going to see the same kind of item checking here in Ice Palace from Chelsea, so stay tuned, folks. We're been very close to figuring out who's really in the lead here. There could still, of course, be a Meyer mirror, but we're hoping not for that.
Half magic's always good to have, especially whenever you might end up going in Turtle Rock soon.
Yeah, not a lot of dungeons would be better to find it in either.
It definitely speeds up the boss. Fire Rod is pretty strong against Coldser.
And it also renders the sword beam strats useless, so I wouldn't be personally all that happy about finding it, but it's definitely a good find. Ooh, there is the possibility of Pyramid Fairy being a factor here. I'm trying to remember what the... Yeah, Tower Pharaoh was the other red crystal, so if it were Pyramid Fairy, this would be a huge play. Ooh, JJ getting really close to dying there against the Chain Chomp room. One of the most dangerous rooms in the game. You gotta be very careful going through there. Thankfully, the game's a bro and gives us an anti-fairy immediately after.
Always handy. Yeah, and that's a good point about the Fat Fairy. That puts both dungeons up to 5 items, essentially.
Well, it doesn't look like Chelsea's found much of anything in Ice Palace, so well, the Pyramid Fairy is looking to be probably the best hope here.
Cherno Frog Sprite looks pretty cool.
Yeah, shout-outs to everybody in the community that does sprite work. You know, it's a lot of tireless work, but it looks awesome. Getting a very traditional cold stare fight out of Chelsea here. They got a little bit of separation, which we don't want to see, but the Fire Rod's going to help a lot with that.
Nicely done. Exactly 0 magic left at the end.
Yeah, very confident recovery. In the meantime, we're going to get a quick look at what is in the big key chest here in Turtle Rock. We're not going to have Mimic Cave access yet, which, in the weird scenario where that has silvers, that would probably be very annoying.
Well, both our runners should have... Well, JJ should get... There's our mirror!
Oh, wow. So, JJBlu officially enters go mode at 1 hour and 13 minutes and 30 seconds. Chelsea has some catching up to do. Fortunately, Ice Palace was a crystal.
Yeah, she's going to check the Pyramid Fairy, and then she needs to do the purple chest very, very, very soon. JJ does have 2 dungeons left to do, but he gets to go mode Ice Palace, which will improve his lead even further.
Also, things that could help Chelsea out here. I mean, this is a huge deficit to catch up with. Potentially finding silvers here in Pyramid Fairy is a nice, advantage, but at this point, it's going to take a lot of really nice execution to catch up here.
Yeah, JJ with the plays, going to Turtle Rock. JJ, I'll be opting to check some chests in desert.
Yeah, one thing that Chelsea does have going for her is that it's actually pretty likely that JJBlu, unless he's looking for like, keys or something in Ice Palace, might skip over that Tempered Sword.
Yeah, and definitely make up a good few minutes with a Master Sword versus Tempered Sword and Gangnam Style.
Yeah, if there's anything that's going to really throw people off, it's having to do Master Sword. And if it just so happens that those silvers were in the Mimic Cave, that would be a pretty hefty difference in that fight. Keep in mind, folks, though, Ganon fight difference, if you do it right both ways, probably a couple minutes. It's not much. Well, this does look promising. We have Magic Bat, so I think that naturally leads to the purple chest.
All she has left at the minute is overworld locations, so there can't be that many of them left.
Well, JJBlu has a little bit of magic to work with to do some fire rod strats here. Probably going to default to bow and arrow after that.
Not to take this a bit off topic, but you happen to catch the King of Berna bombs forced Lamolas yesterday? That was fun.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. If there's ever a case to make for learning bomb Molus, it's that. But we're going to get a pure Master Sword kill here on Lamolus. A little slower, but definitely worth doing. It can be really difficult to hit the arrows on that boss, so hardly blame him.
Hammer peg check off Chelsea? I don't think we've seen this yet. And just 20.
I have to think that the worst possible thing that can happen here for Chelsea is she takes his purple chest and then heads into Mire.
Yeah, that could be unfortunate. Like, Mire is a lot closer to where she was, because JJ did Hera and then was like, I'm beside Turtle Walk, let's just go there. Chelsea will be out in the wild of Hyrule. Not sure if she'll want to walk up Death Mountain.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of frustration out of Chelsea here. I can definitely see why. Definitely happy to see, though, that we got the lunchbox taken care of. That's going to at least give her a standing chance here.
However, we're off the Mire. That's unfortunately not the correct play. There's so many good players and only one's the correct one.
Yeah, that's a tough thing. I mean, we had a coin flip to work with here, and this is going to be a punishing dungeon for Chelsea. I mean, has all the equipment to do this, no problems. It's just there's a lot of places to check. And JJ did actually get that Tempered Sword, so a lot of this falling through the cracks here. Even though both of these runners are running very fast through this seed, Chelsea's going to have to get out of here soon, or else this is looking pretty one-sided.
Yeah, it looks that way. JJ picking up that Tempered will definitely help the situation in Gannon Star. The difference between Tempered and Master Sword is huge. Always fun watching that Stalfos room executed well.
Absolutely. There's an interesting quirk about those Stalfos Knights. So the trigger that the game uses to determine whether a bomb will kill them or not is actually not unique to each one. If you collapse one of those Stalfos Knights, it's going to make both of them ready to be destroyed by bombs. And the converse is true. If one of them stands back up, both of them are now invulnerable to bombs.
Yeah, a nice strike from JJ on Penguin Room.
It's very nice ice movement, too.
I'm so pleased whenever I learned that sword swinging helped your movement in those rooms.
Also, at this point, I have to think the best case scenario for Chelsea is to not have to go to the big key room and to find out that that Vitreous can't hold the item. I mean, that's the best we can hope for at this point.
I don't think we're going to get that, unfortunately. One more chest left to check, I think.
Yeah, we do still have that big key chest.
Oh, yes.
And this one as well. Ooh, that was compass and map, so she will probably check Vitreous as well. We could potentially see her go into Swamp as well. No, we don't have Mirror, so thankfully we can't go into Swamp. No problem there.
Yeah, luckily. Due to that fact, Pedestal settled the question as well. So it's Turtle Rock or bust after this. And JJ spilling out of Ice Palace nice and fast. Unfortunately, he missed the half magic, but he got his Tempered Sword, so that's most of the power from in there.
Yeah, it was a really good Cold Stare fight.
We're off the Gannon's Tower.
Well, folks, you know what that means. There are 22 chests in Ganon's Tower that can hold the big key. We like to play a little game here on the Speed Gaming channels to see who can guess which chest that's going to be. Everyone can take part in this game. The leaderboards are reserved for folks who have subscribed to the channel or donated 250 bits. So if you'd like to be on that leaderboard, go ahead and do so. But otherwise, getting your guesses in now. We have only a little bit of time before the game starts. The first person to find that big key is going to be the one who determines what number it was. Do you have any guesses, Ileana? Personally, I'm thinking it's going to be Bob's chest. It's always Bob's chest in my eyes. Wow, so Chelsea did find the Butter Sword in Misery Mire. It wasn't a complete loss, and is going to skip Vitreous, knowing that all the items... Well, I guess making a gamble not to pick up the last item, but we're happy to see that, though. Okay, so that's the explanation. Thanks, Chad, letting us know that Vitreous had the key. So with that key, we don't have to go and deal with the eyeball monster. Here in Ganon's Tower, though, we're checking left side first. Torch is just a piece of heart, so that's one item. Have not found that big key just yet. And chest 2 here is going to be another piece of heart. That's going to be a full refill. 3 is a key. And chest number 4 was the big key. That did not take long at all. Well, congratulations to... looks like Samurai Man got the guess with the closest supporter or sub-guess at 5. Well played. Definitely great news for JJ. Chelsea's got a little bit of catching up to do because we're going to be in Turtle Rock and then Desert Palace. So this is going to be JJBlu's race to lose at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely his race to lose at this stage. Let's see how experienced he is with silverless traps.
And then, of course, Ganon's Tower itself is the most difficult dungeon in the game, so very possible for JJ to take a death here. I think he does still have the blue potion, though. Is that right?
Yeah, he has his blue potion, red tunic, 16 hearts. Hopefully we're good to go. Taking an intentional fall there for the invincibility frames. Just dash right through that room. No bullet hell here.
We also have quite a lot of arrows to work with, so, I mean, definitely a good place to be for this ascent up Ganon's Tower. If there's a part of the game that you want to practice for the reason of execution and execution alone, this is definitely it.
He's having some issues getting that ferry.
I think he may have lost more health than he would have gained. That's a situation that probably calls for the boomerang switch.
Yeah, that conveyor can definitely throw off your alignment there, trying to nip through those spikes.
I gotta think we're almost certainly seeing the powder here.
Handy bunny beam.
There will be opportunities to pick up 2 more fairies as we go up to Gauntlet 2, walking just after those, after the Wizrobe rooms. Chelsey's not too far away from finding that mirror, though. We're just gonna have to make it through a couple more rooms.
Higgins here. Undoubtedly bailing out immediately. Head straight off the desert. She's fully armed, has her butter sword and all, so if the silvers continue to be elusive, she'll have a significantly faster Ganon fight. Samaria Strat's making short work of these Wizrobe rooms.
Yep, it's undeniably the best way to handle these rooms. Just the fastest thing you can do. A little bit of bad timing, though, on these Wizrobes. That's potentially a fair amount of health lost.
Every little helps to get Chelsea caught up.
Well, we are moments from the most frustrating moment of Chelsea's run. I have to think she's going to be very upset when she finds this.
Yeah, the seed was so nice, and then hammer and get mirror and Turtle Rock for go mode, pendant Turtle Rock.
As of yet, we are not finding those silver arrows, though, so as long as JJBlu does an alright silver this fight, this should be a pretty straightforward finish to the seed. Wisely powdering right before Moldorm 2.
One more chest with potential silvers in it. Chelsea picks up her mirror and heads off the Desert Palace. Amber making short work of Moldorm 2.
We got the vanilla big 20 in the Moldorm 2 chest. That's pretty nice.
Patience is the key to that room. Just wait for those bumpers to be out of your way.
Yeah, definitely a spot where a lot of people struggle because those bumpers will make it very difficult to react. So we didn't get to see the Aghanim 1 fight, but this is the refight. Normally you'd have a 50-50 chance from the main primary Aghanim to do a blue ball attack. I think we might have had a triple there, but if it hit on the same frame, they wouldn't have counted all 3. Pretty good first phase, though.
It looked like a triple, but it could very well have been a double, as you mentioned. And at least one hit there.
I think it was a triple. I mean, it looked pretty clean. Oh, no, it was a double.
Nice clean Aghanim.
Yep, always going to be happy with the 3 cycle. That's not bad. Well, moment of truth, folks. Send them your energy. It's Ganon time. Now, for this fight, we have the Tempered Sword. So it's going to take 12 sword slashes to defeat each phase of Ganon for the first 2. You have to do... If you do this optimally, you can do it in 1 cycle for each attack. He's going to have a Trident attack, then a Spinning Fire Bat attack. He'll destroy the floor after you do 4 hits in phase 3. And then phase 4, we're going to have to do sword spins because we do not have silver arrows. Well, that's 2 cycles so far for the Trident phase. For phase 2, it looks like we might be able to get enough slashes in, but we're going to take some damage doing so.
Nice using the hook shot for a bit of invincibility there.
Yep, you are completely invulnerable while that animation is playing. Well, we move on to phase 3.
Get some nimble dodging in those last fire bats.
We see JJBlu lining up for the torch glitch. This is a very important glitch in this fight. Well, particularly with Silverless. If you light the left torch before the right one goes out in phase 4, the right one will stay lit for the entire fight.
And he gets it.
Yep, so what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get those sword spins right before Ganon warps. There's a small window where you can actually do a slash if you're really good. But it's like a 2-frame window for that. Gotta watch out to not fall off, though. We'll have to start over the entire fight if we can't get 12 of these spins in before that.
Chelsey's cleaned up Desert Pass and is making her trip up the Ganon Heart.
Yep, best case scenario for her is to go to the left side immediately. Now, I do believe we have a blue potion still for JJBlu, so magic shouldn't be an issue here. We just gotta not, die or fall off.
He's doing a good job here at the Silverless so far.
Yep, pretty flawless execution so far. Now, our runners want to try and get at least 2 of these sword spins per phase, and JJBlu does pretty well with that. Manages to finish up Ganon.
Gee.
Well, this is a very fast seed. I'm sure JJ's probably going to have some words to share with us. We'll see if we can get him in for an interview.
Yeah, that'll be fun to talk to him. See what he thinks of that nice mirror.
Looks like we will get an interview, so we'll see him in just a moment.
Hello, hello.
GG, JJBlu. Nice race.
Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
I'll play it. You see Chelsea going right side first, which is a touch unfortunate.
Oh, so this is a very fast seed.
Yeah, I definitely was not expecting it to go this fast, but we were getting a bunch of items super quick, so.
Well, this victory today will put you up 2-0. So that's going to be very good for your tournament, Destiny going on this far. An hour and a half, hour 33:26 on your timer. That's an incredibly great time for this phase of the tournament. Clearly made some great plays. What we saw on our end is that the purple chest for Quake ended up being the difference here.
Well, that's interesting to find out. I mean, I kind of decided since I didn't have Hammer, I would go ahead and full clear all the overworld first in the hopes of getting it before going into Thieves, just to save that potential.
Yeah, and that paid off, definitely. Chelsea ended up doing a lot of Crystal Dungeons, and then did Ice Palace while you were in Turtle Rock, and then had to go and hunt for Quake. And then she did Mire, unfortunately.
I thought about it multiple times, honestly, but at the end of the day, I decided I would rather just take those flippers that I got and just go to Pod than go to Mire first.
And we did see that play out of both of you. So it was actually neck and neck, pretty much, like probably about half a dungeon apart at the most. And then, just so you know, because you're probably wondering where these items were, we did actually find Gold Sword, or basically the last sword upgrade, in Misery Mire, right by the big chest, that one chest just northwest of it. And then silvers, we found out from your fight, were actually in the east side of Desert Palace, which Chelsea did not check.
Well, I actually debated it, and then I decided it just wasn't worth the time for potentially at most one item. I mean, it could have been both, but it could have been one, and I was just like, it's not worth the time.
Yeah, both of you guys were in Tower of Hera at the same time, and I think the main writing difference was while you were up there, you opted to go into Turtle Rock then, and Chelsea went back down Death Mountain to Ice Palace.
And honestly, that is a fair play. I chose that based on, I've been doing a lot of practice with trying to route. So it's definitely been a nice find. Some of that practice I've been doing with routing has made a difference with my choices.
Yeah, and your choices definitely paid off.
You know, for a little bit early on in the seed, we were wondering if you're going to find that bomb drop, actually. There's been a lot of runners in this tournament who have been stuck behind the back half of Escape, and we're very happy to see that not happen today.
Oh, yeah, I was very worried. Honestly, my first race, when I watched back in the VOD, my opponent got an 8 bomb drop in the first 2 kills, and it took me 13 kills to get the same 8 bomb drop. So I was worried about it.
8 stack's definitely a nice thing to find any seed.
I do want to shout out, I was laughing at myself for failing so much in Hera, all the faults I did.
Yeah, you did have the hook shot at that point.
Yeah, but I really shouldn't have done all the effort I did, and I failed trying to do it the way I practiced, and I messed up. I was like, yep, that's a deserved time loss.
Well, in today's instance, it ended up being mostly about routing, less about the fine-tuned, execution. There's only so much of the seed we had to complete. We didn't even really have to do any pendants at all. It was very interesting to see that.
And just a wee dip into Turtle Rock and that Collar Circle mode.
Well, other than that, though, I think we've kind of covered some of the stranger things that went on with the seed. Do you have any other thoughts to share with us about this race?
I gotta say, I was pretty happy to have Mirror as a go mode item. That eliminated me knowing that Book was even possible when I saw it earlier in the race. I also knew the fact that Swamp had nothing to do with this race completely. So it kind of cut off some of the places that had a good chance of being extra troll locations.
We also have some questions in chat about the rationale of going to Turtle Rock instead of Ice Palace, or what had you making that decision? Was that having to do with you already being up there?
Well, I looked at the potential item density plus the fact that I just did not like the idea of Ice having Mirror because it was open for a bit after getting the flippers, but the game wasn't really pointing me specifically to Ice besides that fact. So with that, and with my past practice of using a Z3R, I don't know if y'all heard the site, you can go there and just practice running games via seeds without actually playing the game. You just practice your routing choices and the items you pick up.
I've seen that resource myself. It's very handy because you can basically do everything without having to actually play through it. It's a very fast way to get through it. I also want to call attention. Chelsea took a really rough death just before Moldorm 2, so that's tough. I mean, she was just about to get to Ganon.
Oh, that's no fun.
Yeah, it's probably the worst place in Ganon started out.
But yeah, because of that, I felt that it was easiest to go ahead and route it after Hera, because if I was going to ever play T-Rock, it makes the most sense to do it on the mountain instead of coming back up and wasting extra time just for the climb itself.
Well, you mentioned the item density. The Ice Palace was actually the last of the 5-6 crystals, so it was 5 and 5 items. But I understand that being up Death Mountain, it was a very handy place to go.
Well, it's 5 and 5, but also you have to think Tower of Hera itself is part of that play, because I'm going up there for Hera and T-Rock.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Looking at it from the point of view that Chelsea was in Hera at the same time, but I suppose you weren't exactly thinking about what your opponent was doing.
No. I just worried about what I needed to get done.
But hey, it clearly paid off here. This is going to elevate you to a 2-0. So, I mean, you still got a bit of a journey ahead of you. You definitely have to get at least another 3 wins to guarantee that you make it into brackets. Although I think with some dropouts in the tournament, I think another 2 victories will definitely get you close to that. You got a whole week ahead of you to watch more Randomizer. How does that feel?
Oh, that's great. I know I'm going to be throwing myself out there and doing some more commentaries now that my race is out of the way for the week. I'll be hyped to do that for sure.
Yeah, I'm noticing a lot of those commentators are doing early matches this week just for that. I definitely agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, early morning round was always fun.
I just want to throw out there, appreciate what everybody's doing. You guys is commentating, the tracker, the restream, everybody watching. All the support is amazing. I love all you guys.
Well, it was definitely a pleasure to commentate the race. You guys put on a great show for us today. So on that note, folks, if you liked what you saw, please, by all means, follow the runners, both Chelsea and JJBlu. And on top of that, if you like what you're seeing for Randomizer and you want to see more races, by all means, follow the Speed Gaming channel, Speed Gaming 1 through 6, and also, of course, a link to the past Randomizer 1 through 4 as well.
Chelsea's up to Lamolus here.
Well, we got to see the nice fire rod strats on Lamolus. That's always nice to see. We'll have a pretty fast rest of this gauntlet, though. Chelsea has a lot more health to work with this time around.
Has a handy magic drop as well. Keep her magic levels nice and high. I was actually curious about this the other day. If you don't have require fire rod for the seed, is fire rod still required for these 2 rooms logically? Something that popped into my head the other day.
You were asking about having to have fire rod for the torch rooms?
Yes, yes.
I believe, technically speaking, you can actually lamp the top right corner one in this torch 2 room. But generally speaking, there's no reason to ever do this without lamp. I do believe that the logic asks for fire rod, but somebody in chat probably knows that a little better than I do.
No, it was just a thought I had. Like if Skullwood's Turtle Rock and right side of Ganon's Tower was mandatory, or wasn't mandatory, could you skip fire rod? Just a thought I had the other day.
It is technically possible. You can do it with the lamp. Though I don't admire anybody. Well, I feel bad for anybody who has to, practice that. That's not exactly a skip you want to do.
Yeah, true. Approaching Aghanim too.
Getting caught in some pretty weird positions.
Yeah, the sprite wasn't looking the healthiest there.
This is a pretty rough position to be in, and I would not want to be having that happen to me.
Clenching a little.
On the bright side, though, there will be a fairy available to us after this fight. Chelsea may opt to use a potion if she still has one instead, so should be in pretty comfy position overall.
I've been meaning to ask, did she only have one bottle? Because I only got one the whole race.
We did find a second one. Both of you did find one at Zora. I'm not sure where the second one was. It might have been Ice Palace.
It would have been Ice Palace or Mar, or actually, was there one in Fat Fairy? I feel like I remember there being one in Fat Fairy.
Possibly. I'm not sure. Yeah, that would be the one other location that you hadn't checked.
Yeah, that's a fair location to check if you do ice early, compared to doing T-Rock.
Well, chat, send Chelsea your energy. She is about to take on Ganon here.
Other sword should make short work of Ganon.
Yeah, this will definitely be an easier fight. So now instead of the 12 slashes that we need for phases 1, 2, and 4, we only need 6. Same rules as far as the third phase goes. Still have to do 1 hit per jump. Now, we don't have red mails, so we really can't take any damage here.
I don't think if we add red mail, we can take any damage anyway.
Ouch. But, I mean, it's effectively a death warp at this point. I'm going to re-heal and possibly pick up a fairy, not sure.
Yeah, Daisha was particularly confident in their ability to do the whole Ganon without a hit, but nice and healthy now.
Oh, and Error in chat correcting me about the 12 spins for phase 4. That is correct. You do need 12 sword spins in order to finish it up. Ouch. Well, we did make it to phase 3, but we got hit by a fire bat the last second there, so we're going to make another run at this.
Round 3.
This is definitely a much more favorable position for Ganon. Now that we have pretty much all 6 of those slashes, and now is a good time to run the heck away. Definitely a good time to be using that potion, because at this point, I mean, even if you don't get the torch glitch, you have half magic to work with. It's not too bad.
Yeah, true. I like the dash along the top to catch the first hit in phase 3 there, so we didn't get a fire ring.
Yeah, those fire rings are really hard to dodge, so I mean, to even get the dash through it, that's great timing.
And we have our torch glitch.
Yeah, no problem so far. So what you may end up seeing Chelsea do is switch to Fire Rod, although I think she might be playing it safe with just the Lantern. You can use the Fire Rod to get up to 3 sword spins per cycle, using the extra distance you can get from the torch.
It obviously puts your enrage a bit harder on the fight. Like, the fight will end a lot sooner because you run out of magic.
Well, looking good so far. We still have a little bit of insurance with our health bar right now, so with 6 hearts, we should just, as long as we can avoid these fire bats, be in a pretty good position to finish this up. Also, shout outs to Seiru for doing tracking for this race. Appreciate your efforts.
Good job. And there's Ganon down.
Well, GG everybody in chat to Chelsea and JJBlu for their fantastic race. We're going to see if we can get Chelsea in here for a quick interview since this was a pretty fast completion. Looks like she will be joining us. We'll have her here in a moment. You know, one thing I really like here is that the collection rate is very low for this seed. I mean, look at that, 133 out of 216. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, I did not complain about that either.
Yeah, it was a very, very fast seed.
And we are joined here by ChelseyxLynn. GG on your race. You may need to unmute yourself from the server.
Yeah, congratulations. Well played.
You know, I had to mess something up.
GG, Chelsea.
Thank you. GG to you as well.
For what it's worth, you both were pretty much neck and neck for most of the race. As it turned out, and I'm sure you guessed, it was the purple chest that ended up being your downfall today.
Yeah. And then going to Mire instead of Turtle Rock. I figured, you know, if the mirror was going to be in Mire, that would be the best case scenario, but I played it safe and I shouldn't have.
That being said, very good completion time. I mean, for even having that kind of diversion, you know, 150 is very fast. Both of you guys did really well with this seed. So, you know, one thing I'm thinking is, you know, even with this loss today, Chelsea, I mean, you're definitely a racer to watch for this tournament. JJBlu, I mean, going up 2-0 at an hour 33-minute seed. We got some high caliber contenders in this race. It was very exciting to watch.
I don't know, with a GT like that.
To be fair, you did skip that mail.
I didn't think I would need it.
Never think
Really,
of
I
it.
did. Yeah, that was something else.
It was a privilege to commentate, though. I mean, do you have any thoughts on this race overall, Chelsea? I mean, you definitely mentioned the things that were holding us up, but it looked like you did pretty well most of the rest of the race.
Yeah, no, up until that, I was feeling really good. Even after JJ got done, I'm like, all right, I'm in GT, like, this is fine. Like, I feel really good with the way that this went. You know, a couple different routing things, you know, could have put me a little ahead, but, you know, otherwise I felt really good about that. Gameplay up until GT, I was really happy with. So, overall, I was happy.
Really good play, very solid throughout the seed.
I'm sorry?
You played very solid throughout the seed.
Yeah, thank you. Vanilla Hammer was fun.
Good word.
I was all like, I was so convinced that I was gonna have to double dip pod. I was like, all right, this is fine. I've accepted my fate. And then I got the hammer. I'm like, oh, this is okay.
Well, I do want to kind of ask both of you a question. I mean, if there's anything you guys would do differently, you know, to practice, I mean, is there anything that you'd recommend to, you know, learn from your mistakes in the seed for the two of you? Anything you want to work on for next race?
Use your potions.
Don't get stuck in Armos Knights when you try to start the fight.
What? You got stuck in them?
Yeah, I ran up, slashed them to the point that I couldn't get out of it until they started moving, and I just got hit straight up, and I completely messed up the quick kill.
One way you can help with that lineup is to line yourself up with the middle arm most to the top, and then just kind of, you had the right position, you were just maybe a little bit low. But I mean, and then of course the audio cue, but I mean, otherwise it looked like you had the setup.
Yeah, I thought I was in the right place. It was just, it seems when I was messing around slashing him too much, my body just wouldn't move out of the middle guy, and so I got hit by him.
Speaking of bosses, I was really happy with pretty much all my boss fights. Like my Moth, my Blind was but my Cold Stare, I was, my Moth, most notably. I was really happy with my Moth. I was a little scared going into it.
Yeah, the Mossel fight was very impressive. It's like, we're a little worried you going in with solo hearts and green mail, but you pulled through.
Yeah, Master Sword too, so. I mean, Master Sword, I was like, all right, this is going to be a little easier. I feel like I routed things okay. I probably could have checked a little less, but, you know, with how little items we had, and I felt like I had to be thorough. finding hookshot was the last thing that I could have done. And I was almost convinced that I had to go do Aga to get to East Dark World. Like, if I hadn't found hookshot right there,
All the
I
way up
would've
until
absolutely
that point,
done
you guys
Aga.
were taking the same path.
huh?
All the way up until that point, you both had pretty much the exact same checks. So, I mean, that's pretty much where it started to divert, is after
Gotcha.
that dungeon.
That makes me feel a little better about that.
This version of the game though is thrown a lot of the loop of what the old version was as far as routing and how you want to run it, that I've had to completely change how I thought from the last version of the game so much because of how the game is different now.
Yeah, I've heard that a couple times from multiple people, actually.
Yeah, it's nice that the developers managed to switch it up so regularly.
Yeah, they're okay.
There's always something new in this game, whether you're playing it vanilla or randomizer. You'll learn something new every day playing it.
Definitely.
Well, with that, I think we should probably clear ourselves out so that we can get ready for the next races here on the channels. Any parting words for your fans, JJBlu and Chelsea?
Fly high!
Please use your potions.
This has been a PSA. And
Yes, I will see.
on that note, everybody, these runners put on a fantastic show for us. Please follow them. They're going to have lots of great content. I know both of these runners do play a lot of randomizers, so if you love it, great. Also, please follow the Speed Gaming 1 through 4 and a link to the past, or 1 through 6 and a link to the past randomizer 1 through 4 to watch a lot more content coming up. Looking forward on the schedule, it looks like we will have another race on this channel at 1. We also have coming up in just a couple minutes. I'm not sure if it's going to get a restream or not, but we have a Twitch Corner versus Gilflow. And all throughout the rest of the day, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and till the end of time, we're going to have more randomizers. So stay tuned, folks. There's a lot more to see here. I've been Uday Monistic. I've been joined on the mic by
Eliana.
Got any closing words for us?
I think we've said our part. Let everyone head on to the next race.
Thanks for the race, folks. It was a pleasure to commentate, and I'll see you guys next mission.
Bye bye.
Thank you for commentating and everything. Bye.